So we're back here with the fourth lesson about the introduction into the Eigenharp Tau. So the purpose of today is to start recording a loop with your Tau. So if you found something nice to play and you want to record a little snippet of it and then play yourself over it, right? So again, I'm going to refer you to the quick reference manual. So we're still on page 8. And we had the octave down and up buttons here that are at the bottom here. You've got two other buttons right above them. You probably have been wondering what they are. Those are the record and the unplay or cancel button. So whichever instrument is active, so in this case it's the piano, right? Because it's the top left key. Whichever instrument is active, I can start recording. So to do that, you select it here with the record button. So that is the record button. It's the one in the top left also. And then you start the metronome. And now it will wait until you start playing. Right? So if you want to stop, either you turn off the metronome and then it remembers what you did, so you can turn it off again, that one again, and it will start playing again. Then you can play over it. Okay? Now if you weren't satisfied with that, you can press the button right next to it, and that will erase, it will cancel the recording that you did. Alright, so once more, the top left button will start recording as soon as you press your first note. The one next to it erases it. Okay? Is that clear? Now you're probably wondering, that snippet, that duration that I recorded was very short, right? It was one measure. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So this is probably not what you want to record. So again, you can go to your quick reference manual, and if you go to page 9, you can see here that there is a section that's called recorder controls, right? So this is, again, another mode you can go into. So if you use the mode key, we had the mode to select, in this case, the tonics, the scales, and right above the scales, there is the mode to interact with the recorder, okay? And you can see that it's the same shape as this shape here. And you've got little numbers printed in the reference manual on the keys, and those are basically the number of measures that you will record. So in this case, you know, you've got one that is highlighted, so you're recording one measure. So if I press on the one just under it, it corresponds to 2, so I will record 2 measures. This is 3, this is 4, this is 6, 8, 12, 16, 24, or 32. Okay. So let's say that you want to record 2 measures. I select 2, right? I go back to the instrument. Yes? So I switch to another mode. I go from the instrument mode, I go from the recorder mode back to the instrument mode. I arm the recording, that's how we call that. That's, you make it active. You say, okay, I want to start recording. And then you press on the metronome. Right, now it's 2 measures. Any questions about that?
No.
No? So that's clear? Okay. So something that is interesting about that is that you can record each instrument independently. So in this case, I'm gonna record the piano again, right? So I arm the recording, start the metronome. Right. Now I can switch to alchemy. I arm the recording again. Now I've got 2 instruments that are playing at the same time. Right?
Right.
So this allows you already to start coming up with melodies that continue playing, and you kind of search what you want and improvise over it. So that's clear? Now I want to go into a little bit of theory, because there is something that is quite important to understand, is that you've got different ways of recording audio and music, right? So the Eigenharp has been created for performance. It means that you can always interact, always influence what is going on. It's meant for being on stage and being able to change whatever you've recorded. So giving you a short example. So I'm switching back to the piano. I'm going to erase that, and I'm switching back to alchemy. So you've got alchemy here that's active, right? So I recorded something with alchemy, but I can still switch to another instrument. Right? So what was recorded was not what you heard. What you recorded was what you actually pressed on the keyboard. And I'm going to show you visually what the difference is. So I showed that by switching to different instruments in alchemy. Now I'm going to open up Cubase. Right, so this is Cubase. And I'm going to switch to an instrument which is called a MIDI instrument. And I'm not going to detail this much further, but it will show you what happens. So if I play now, I'm sending, instead of having the alchemy inside Eigen-D, alchemy is now running inside Cubase, right? So if I record something in Cubase, I'm not using the Eigenharp software, I'm using Cubase to show visually what happens. So I'm pressing record here. I've got 2 tracks here enabled to record. So if I press record, so you can see that I made 2 different recordings of the same sound, right? So this is the notes, these are the notes that were recorded, right? You only have 4 notes. While this is the audio, it's the music that was recorded. So if you look at the notes, I'm going to double click, you can see that there's not much information there. It's a small amount of information, it's only 4 notes. It's C, it's E, it's G, and it's C again. That's all. The moment that it was played.
That's the note and the sensibility.
And the sensibility, which is at the bottom here. So it's actually the velocity, we call that in MIDI. So this is the velocity, it's written here, right? That's not much information, okay? Here, this is the audio. You can see that it's a lot more detailed, right? You've got everything that you actually heard is being recorded. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, now something to realize is, once you recorded the audio, the plugin Alchemy doesn't have to do anything anymore, because what you hear from the speakers is already here, it's present, right? The computer doesn't have to calculate anymore to come up with the sound. However, if you recorded those notes here, each time Alchemy has to be used again to calculate what the sound is going to be, right? This has the advantage of flexibility, like I showed, that you can still change the sound afterwards. You can switch to another instrument. It has the disadvantage of each time requiring the computer to calculate what you're hearing. So, depending on the power of your computer, you will be limited to what you can do with the recording inside the Eigenharp. So what the Eigenharp does, it records a little bit like the top section here. It doesn't record the audio, it just records the keys that you pressed, right? So each time, Alchemy has to be used to calculate the sound that you're hearing, okay? So if you're using Alchemy, if you're using the piano, and if you use the cello, for example, or a few other plugins, each time, all these plugins, if you hear sound, when you record it through the recorder in the Eigenharp, it will all have to be calculated all the time. And depending on the power of your computer, you can put more or less instruments there. If your computer is not very powerful, you might only be able to use 2 or 3. If you've got a more powerful computer, you'll be able to use more. Also, you will notice that you're using too many. When you start hearing crackles, you'll start hearing things like that, meaning that the computer is not able to calculate enough anymore, so that it's ready in time for you to hear it. What we did in Cubase was just an example to show you the 2 different ways of recording, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, just to be clear, the reason why in the Eigenharp it is done the way it is done, the first way of recording, is so that you can interact with it freely while you're performing, okay? So there are some more controls, some more functions and features to the recording section of the Eigenharp. So if you recall, we had the mode key here, the key group mode key, with that button that allows you to go into recording mode, where you can select a number of measures, right? You've got 2 additional keys here, and these keys allow you to erase everything you recorded. So let's say that I've got something going that we recorded before, right? I can press once on this button and everything is erased, right? This is quite handy if you recorded different loops for several instruments, right? So if you remember, when we first started this lesson, you were able to record, for example, the piano by pressing on this key, and then it means that you record just the piano. If you switch to the alchemy instrument and you press the record key, you will record alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
So these are present individually, independently inside the Eigenharp. If you build up a whole bunch of recordings by going to the recorder section, the recorder mode with this button, you can erase them all. They're all gone, right? Okay. The button right next to it is more for performance. You will not encounter this very frequently when you're actually working at home. It's basically, if you press the record button, it turns off the record button for all the instruments that are ready to be recorded. In case you're playing something, you press record button, oh no, I didn't want to do this, you can turn them off for all of them. Which is, actually, this button does the same. If you haven't started recording, it will cancel, so you will not start recording when you play. Or if you have recorded, it will erase the recording. So it has 2 functions. Now I'm gonna start off the recording section with, I'm just gonna record 2 small pieces. So I'm on the piano, I'm enabling it to record. Right, so I'm switching to alchemy, I'm enabling it to record. Okay, I'm turning this off. So there is another mode that goes together with the recording. So I had this recorder mode here with the number of measures, right? There is a mode right above it that is the scheduler mode. It's actually related to the recording. It is the 2 loops, in this case, that I recorded. So if I turn this on, I can turn them off so that the next time I don't hear the 2 measures, right? Now I'm turning the piano on, and then I can turn the next one on. The next time it comes around, it will start playing the other section. The next time it will turn it off. Now it's going to turn the piano off the next time, right? So this allows you to create a whole bunch of loops that you can still turn on and off while you're playing. So if I go back now to the recorder section and I delete them all, right? Then you go back to the scheduler section, you see they are gone, right? So just to summarize, this is tonics, closest to you is scales. If you move up, it's about recording the number of measures and erasing everything. And if you move up again, it's everything that you have already recorded so that you can schedule it. You can say when you want it to start and to stop. Okay, that's it for this time. I hope you enjoyed it and see you in the next course.